Hare Krishna. Hare, okay. Jarada Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Shrimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga All glories to Srila Prabhupada Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, we're reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, called Karma Yoga, text number 36. Arjuna Uvacha Atakyana Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichan Api Varshneya Baladivani Yojita. Arjuna Uvacha Atakyana Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Varshneya Balad Iva Niyojita. Arjuna Uvacha Atakyana Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Varshneya Aladiva Niyojita. Arjuna Uvacha Atakyana Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Varshneya Baladiva Niyojita. Arjuna Uvacha Takyana Prayuktoya Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Varshneya Baladiva Niyojita. Arjuna Uvacha Atakyana Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Varshneya Baladiva Niyojita. Arjuna Uvacha Atakyana Prayuktoyam Papam Charati Purusha Anichanapi Varshneya Diva Niyojita. Okay. Arjuna Uvacha. Arjuna said, Ata, then, Kena, by what? Prayukta, impelled. I am one. Papam, sins. Charati, does. Purusha, a man. Anichan, without desiring. Api, although. Varshneya, O descendant of Vrishni. Balat, by force. Iva, as if. Niyojita, engaged. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? Purport. A living entity, as part and parcel of the Supreme, is originally spiritual, pure, and free from all material contaminations. Therefore, by nature, he is not subject to the sins of the material world, but when he is in contact with the material nature, he acts in many sinful ways without hesitation, and sometimes even against his will. As such, Arjuna's question to Krishna is very sanguine, as to the perverted nature of the living entities. Although the living entity sometimes does not want to act in sin, he is still forced to act. Sinful actions are not, however, impelled by the supersoul within, but are due to another cause, as the Lord explains in the next verse. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shimate Praladananda Swamiti Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine. Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in previous verse, Krishna is telling Arjuna that he has to do his own duty, and Arjuna starts this section by a question. There's this acronym method, and the acronym for this third chapter is 3. 3. Every letter stands for something. So it's 3, like a tree, I don't know, like how you call it? I don't know, apple tree or something. Yeah, but just 3, and that every letter means something. For example, the first T stands for Tyaga. First few verses are about renunciation. And then there's next verses. There's the acronym is R, which means rungs on the ladder, on the yoga ladder. And then the next part is about E. It means exemplary action. There's many verses in that part. And this section is the next E comes from enemy of the soul, last. So Arjuna starts this section with this question. Who is the enemy? I understand that I have to fight. It's very clear that I should fight, but I can't fight. Who is sabotaging me? So that's a very good question. We can also put it in our daily life. I want to wake up for Mangalarti, and I can't wake up for Mangalarti. Who is sabotaging me? And so Arjuna is asking this very good question. So Arjuna might say, okay, maybe the demigods are sabotaging me. Probably not the demigods, because Arjuna's father is Indra, so probably they couldn't. But for us, it might work. Sorry. We might think, okay, maybe the demigods, maybe the demons, maybe who is sabotaging the soul? It's probably, I want to do something and I can't do it. I know what's my duty, it's very clear, and I will not do it. Why? I think, so Arjuna understood some parts of this philosophy. He understood, okay, I'm an eternal spirit soul and should be full of knowledge and bliss, but still I don't act on that platform. I don't even act on this karma kanda platform, which is, at least I should be dutiful, but I'm not. So what's the problem? So that's Arjuna's question, which is very good question and very relevant in our lives. Many times people do things that they don't want to do, apparently. So Krishna will, in the next verse, Krishna will give an explanation. He'll give a very nice explanation why we are sometimes not doing our duty. It's a very compassionate type of explanation. It's not your fault, you are a good boy. No. Krishna is very, very direct. Krishna says, it's your fault. Because you probably did something in the past that put you in that situation. So it's not by chance. So of course, next verse, Krishna says, Shi Bhagavanu Vacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhava Mahashano Mahapavma Vidyana Nami Havairinam. The Supreme Personality of God has said, it is lust only Arjuna which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of the Lord, of this world. Sorry. So Krishna says directly, okay, problem is lust. Of course, talking about lust in this is not very popular in the current civilization. You cannot go, probably if you go to the universities or you put a poster, how to be free from lust. Probably nobody will come. Okay, why would be? But that's what it is. They call it love nowadays, but that's what it is. It's lust. There's this example. His Holiness Devamrita Maharaj explains. I heard some class. He was talking about how he came to Krishna consciousness, and how the devotees were preaching to him. And of course, he gives this as a negative example, but still it worked in his case. So Maharaj, for a long time, he didn't want to associate with the devotees, and eventually they got him to associate with the devotees. He was coming for Sunday feast, and he had a girlfriend at some point when he came to Krishna consciousness. So he understood because he was reading for some years, he was reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So he understood, okay, if this girlfriend is not gonna be Krishna conscious, it's not gonna work. So he's thinking, okay, we'll take her to Sunday feast. Nice class, not very direct, nice prasadam, and life is good. So that was his plan. He brought his girlfriend to the Sunday feast. Class, very nice class. Not very, as they say, as the Americans say, in your face. A bit. Something. There, prasadam, and he's like, okay, so far so good, we survived. And then this brahmachari comes. He's sitting with his girlfriend, they enjoy prasadam, and then this brahmachari comes and he says, the first thing he says, what is the nature of this relationship? That's not how you usually preach to new people. Anyway, probably things were a bit wild at that time, so Maharaj is saying, well, we love each other. This brahmachari is was in this preaching mood, and he's like, oh, you don't read the books? I heard you read the Prabhupada's books. This is not love, this is lust. And his girlfriend gets up and starts running and crying. Oh. And then Maharaj running after her, like, no, I can explain. And no, it's not gonna work. Anyway, she runs, and then Maharaj is like, okay, no, I don't need any of this kind of drama. So anyway, he was very happy that he's thankful to this brahmachari for his not very intelligent preaching, but which worked in this case. So anyway, the point of this side story is that we call it love, but actually it's lust, because it's completely, at least in the material world, it's completely on the bodily platform. It's a relationship within two bodies. But anyway, Maharaj was was thanking this brahmachari because he thought, okay, that's I should have Krishna helped me to become a sannyasi. So so he didn't like my relationship. Anyway, as Maharaj said in one class in Romania, I remember someone asked about something like, we like Krishna, but why can't we always serve Krishna? Who is sabotaging us? And Maharaj said very nicely, in a few words, he said, yeah, we like Krishna and we like so many other things. So that's our problem. It's not material nature's fault. It's our fault. We want Krishna, yes. We want something to do with Krishna, but we also want many other things. And this material nature is alluring us, and we like it. It's nice. We like Maya. So if you see people in general, you can see that people are very busy. People have no time. They are doing so many important things. I was yesterday in this very little city. It's called Litia. It's like 4,000 people, and nothing happens there. And people were still busy. I was like, and because they had some important things to do. I don't know. They had their jobs. They had their family. They had. And I was really thinking, like, what's so important to do in Litia, why? That you cannot stop, like 2 minutes, you cannot stop because you're doing something very important. But for these people, whatever they were doing was very, very important. Oh, yeah, okay, very important. No time, I'm sorry. Anyway, some of them also stopped. And of course, from our perspective, nothing is happening in Litia, but in Ljubljana, the important things happen. Or if not in Ljubljana, or some other things are important. And probably also demigods are looking and are like, on this very insignificant planet, they are so busy running around and they are thinking they are doing something important. They were looking for what can be important on this earth. Like some devotee was asking Srila Prabhupada. He was telling, "I'm such a small devotee, but I have a big problem." And Srila Prabhupada was laughing and telling him, "How can a small person have a big problem? How can you have an important problem? You're so insignificant." So, and of course, there's this story with Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when Srila Prabhupada came and explained, told him about the whole universe, okay, that there's Mahavishnu sitting there and inhaling, exhaling, and many universes come and with one inhalation, universes are created and destroyed. And in this universe, there's so many planets, big planets. There's a small planet called the Earth, which is part of Jambudvip and so on. And then on this Earth, there's so many countries. One is America, and then he gets to Los Angeles, this La Cienega Boulevard, and he says, and there's a building there, and there is a temple commander who thinks he's very important. So that's somehow a position of people in the material world. They are doing things which are completely insignificant, and but for them it's very important. Very important. You offer people opportunity. Okay, please stop, and we'll teach you how to not run around in circles anymore. You're just running around doing nothing, wasting your time. No. No. Why? Because they like it. That's their perfect position for them. Many times people say sometimes people say that they are in a certain position because they don't know. And then you're like, okay, now you're informed. So people say, for example, I didn't know I should be a vegetarian. I didn't know animals have soul. Like, okay, no problem. So now you're informed. Are you gonna do something different? And then I will say, no. then you're like, then it's not a mistake. It's not a lack of information. You're a rascal. So anyway, there's many ways in which this lust is manifested. People are very much to run around in the material world, and that's the point. Krishna tells us here that the enemy is lust, and why we are not doing our duty? Because we have other desires, because of lust. Or maybe I was in the past. And sometimes it's very easily traceable, like for example, this morning I woke up, I had a small stomach pain. And I was thinking, whoa, this, I feel sick, I have problems, this, that. And then who's to blame? No? The demigods, probably. Or maybe the demons are attacking me in my sleep. And then I remember, maybe it has something to do with what I ate late last evening. So sometimes things are that simple. They can be traced like that. You can just check the day before or a few hours before what you did, and then you can see, I did that. Maybe it's related. That's a very simple example, but it's relevant. You can't you will not wake up in the morning for Mangalarti. Why? Because you did something in the evening. Very simple. It's not rocket science. Or you can't go for Harinam because you have some health problems. Yeah, okay. Why you have health problems? Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I overate at some point. So it's many times it's very. That's very simple examples, and the point is that we need, if we want to be stable in our devotional life, then we have to do some devotional service, but also to some degree renounce lust. Now we're singing every evening. We're singing the Modarashtaka. And at least me, I'm not entering in the pastime. I'm not there with Mother Yashoda and Krishna and Mother Yashoda running after Krishna. I'm not there. And then if I ask why am I not there, well, it's quite obvious. Because I have material desires, I have impurities. So that's it's not only on that level, but also even on lower levels, you want to be stable in your practice. Why you're not stable in your practice? Because there's material desires. So there's a progression. It's called Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, unstable devotional service, Anartha Nivriti, purification of the impurities, and then Nishtita Bhajana Kriya. So you can be stable only at the point where you give up your impurities, where you give up lust. So, and of course, there's a process on how to do this. It's called sadhana bhakti. It's called Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. It starts with sadhana bhakti in this stage that we don't really feel. So this is also a part now we have this additional sadhana for Kartik. We offer lamps every evening, and devotees did probably had some vows, and they are doing this. And that's good. That's very good. But this should act like an inspiration. I was hearing that this festival was inspiring, this Holy Name Festival, which is good. And probably it was, for me it was. But inspiration means what? Inspiration means that after the festival, then I will chant Hare Krishna better. I will do my sadhana better. I will do my service better. Or at least it can be like I was going down. I was barely doing my sadhana anymore. And now I got a bit like a boost again. And then, so the point is that we, to get rid of this lust, we should follow a process. And this process means many things. Means we have morning program, we have evening program, we have, and yes, we have this Kartik Vrata. But the point is, after the Kartik Vrata, what we will do? We still have to. Devotional service is not just in Kartik. Anyway, so the point is that we should be willing to get rid of lust. And of course, this section is there's so many nice verses in this chapter, especially in this section, where Krishna says a few things. One of them is next verse. And after that verse, he says, he gives different degrees of lust. And the point is that in human form of life, there is some lust, which is covering the soul, but it's not so much that you can still do something. You can still practice some devotional service. So this is a good opportunity. And the point is that this lust, and then next verse says that actually this lust there's no limit. And in the material world, anyway, I had this realization today, that the material world, you just choose which problems you want to have. I was like, I was coming, I went for some kirtan, some small city, and I was coming back by car. I was trying to find a proper route, how to get back to the temple. And I already caught the rush hour. So it was like 3 o'clock, it was like packed everywhere. So I go back, I was following the GPS, and the GPS said, oh, this traffic jam right in front, you have to take this exit. Okay, so I go this exit, and yeah, no problem. And then I go a bit more, and they say, oh, there's another traffic jam here. Okay, you take this exit. And then I go on the small street, and so on and so on. And so far, so good, so far, so good. And then 1 kilometer somewhere on a small street, car one after another, traffic jam. So I was just sitting there like 10 minutes. So this is material world. You just choose. You know, there was a traffic jam on the highway. There was a traffic jam on the ring, and there was a traffic jam on this small street. So you just choose which traffic jam do you want. Where do you want to stay? So sometimes it's even worse. Anyway, on the day of the marathon, we were with Maharaj coming back from the Ayurvedic doctor. You know, like it's like 8 o'clock Sunday morning. You know, how much time you can take from the Ayurvedic doctor to the temple. So okay, you go normal road, and then you see marathon. All right. And then they tell you instead you have to just go right, and then they forced us to go left. And I was doing a bit like this, you know. I was thinking, okay, we're gonna figure it out. Just cut some corners. And I got exactly on the right street on the, you know, like I just needed 10 meters to go. But on the main road there was exactly at that point there was the marathon, so we were like, okay, waiting there like 15 minutes at least for the marathon. Everyone was running, and then the last people were like walking. Like speaking of people doing something very important in the material world, like just walking, you know. It's the marathon. Anyway. So and then at the end of this chapter, Krishna also gives the formula how to overcome lust, because it's not so easy to overcome. And he gives two things. One is that you have to regulate the senses. The whole point of the Varnashrama system is that you regulate the senses. You put yourself in some position that you can function. And the other thing is that you are Krishna conscious. You practice devotional service. You practice Krishna consciousness. So he gives the point is that you have to have both. You have to do sadhana bhakti, yes. And at the same time, you cannot enjoy the senses too much. It's just going in the other direction. Yeah, okay, there can be some sense gratification, but it has to be very regulated. And at the same point, time, you have to practice some Krishna consciousness. And in this context, I'll just read what Maharaj was mentioning yesterday. So that's for example the point of the Grihastha ashram. You want to enjoy some association with the opposite sex, perfect. There are some rules, but what is the purifying agent is Krishna consciousness. So I'll just read this. I'll finish with this. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport of the verse Maharaj was quoting yesterday. He says, the best process for making the home pleasant is Krishna consciousness. If one is in full Krishna consciousness, he can make his home very happy, because this process of Krishna consciousness is very easy. One need only chant Hare Krišna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Accept the remnants of footsteps offered to Krishna, have some discussion on books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage oneself in deity worship. These 4 things will make one happy. One should train the members of his family in this way. The family members can sit down morning and evening and chant together Hare Krišna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If one can mold his family life in this way, to develop Krishna consciousness, following these 4 principles, then there is no need to change from family life to renounce the order. So Srila Prabhupada gives very simple formula. You have to regulate the senses. Yes, Grihastha ashram is meant to regulate the senses. but at the same time you have to be Krishna conscious. And of course, for us, the question which Arjuna asks in this verse is, why do we not do our service? The answer is because of lust. Because we want to do some things which are maybe a bit against devotional service. So we have to also regulate this. Okay. Okay. I'll stop here. There are some comments, questions.
Hare Krishna, comments, question, I don't know. You mention when you feel ill in the morning or stomach pain, who to blame? You blame yourself for something you eat last night or something. What about that's a physical pain. What about sometime you are get angry very much easier than other time. Sometimes you can tolerate something, sometimes you cannot tolerate. Is also to blame this someone who, I don't know, you can tolerate what he say or what he do. It's to think, maybe I can tolerate this because I did day before something wrong. Because sometimes it's much easier. Sometimes it's how we say, all milk and honey, and sometimes it's not so sweet. Sometimes it's some bad days, and it's this bad day. Is there be also connection or how we spend day before, what we do? Because I several times heard that when you do some Vaishnava apparat, the most consequences is that you lose the taste.
Yeah.
And should you blame this person who irritates you because he's Krishna's instrument? Or you think maybe I did something wrong, not to that person, in general the day before?
Yeah, this example with what you did the day before is very simplified version. So it's not always sometimes, for example, usually health problems come from, as far as I understand, if you abuse your body in youth, then you'll have some health problems a bit later, sometimes. So it's usually not it's not something that you do today. This is like a simple example. Now today, if you eat 5 pancakes, you go down, you eat 5 pancakes. Tomorrow morning, you will feel a bit sick, which is, but the point is that there is this verse, this Tatenukampa Susumikshamanam verse. And there's a few, there Lord Brahma is saying that you should think that if something is happening to you, you are tolerating the reactions of your past misdeeds. That's a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is thinking, oh, this is happening to me, and probably I have done something in the past. Who's to blame? You should first thing we have done is that we came to the material world. Did Krishna send you to the material world to preach? I don't know. For me, he didn't. So probably, at least not that I remember. So probably I did a mistake. It's my mistake that I came to the material world. I wanted to enjoy the material world. So whose fault is this? So there's many mistakes we probably have done in the past, and here we are now. And who can we blame? We can blame ourselves. And that's as Lord Brahma explains, this is the attitude of a Vaishnava. It's like, okay, we got some reactions to our sinful activities in the past. Okay, Hare Krishna. I'll continue with my service, and of course, there's life is some good days, some bad days. Like material world is always like a Ferris wheel. How you call this? Yeah, like sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down, sometimes you're up, sometimes down. Yeah, it's like that. We just learn to tolerate. I don't know. That's my understanding. Sometimes you can trace it back to something, and sometimes you can usually ask around. Like if you ask the devotees, Prabhu, I'm feeling some lack of taste, some, like you just ask the devotees, and someone might have seen something that you have done specifically in last days. You just ask around and like, oh yeah, Prabhu, I mean, I saw you did probably this, and it's true what you're saying. Usually when you offend the devotees, you lose taste. When you offend devotees, which is many offending, or also one common problem is we disconnect ourselves from the shelter of advanced devotees. Like we are like, okay, I don't need help anymore. I'm like, I'm smart. That's experience showed us that when devotees do this, then Maya will just mop the floor with them, So yeah, it can be many things. You can ask, but some things you can trace it, and sometimes you just have to tolerate. I don't know. That's my understanding. Maybe Maharaj. Jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Shri Pancha Tattva ki jai.